Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing good. Welcome back to Module 8 Motivation, Crisis, and First Aid for Mental Health. Now we are commencing Lecture 4 of this module. Before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. I am Akanksha Avasthi, a mental health professional and RCA registered clinical psychologist. I have been working here at IIT Kanpur for past several years. Today's lecture is about resilience building in times of crisis. We will discuss below topics: understanding resilience and its role in mental health, strategies to adapt and recover from adversity, cultivating optimism and emotional strength during challenging times. Here are few metaphors which are telling you what basically resilience is. Adversity is the furnace in which resilience is forged. Only through the fire does the steel becomes strong. Gold is tested in fire and strong people in trials. Resilience allows people to function well emotionally, mentally and socially even under extreme pressure. This is given by Waters and Wozik in 2023. So basically what resilience is? Resilience is a quality in which the person shows the adaptability and be persistent despite having all the hardships and many times emerge as stronger. We have seen many characters in the history also who have shown the resilience in the difficult times like Lakshmi Bai, Mahatma Gandhi and many more. Basically, resilience is the ability to adapt well in the face of adversity, trauma, threats or significant sources of stress such as family and relationship problems, serious health issues, workplace or financial stresses. It doesn't mean a person who is resilient doesn't experience difficulty or distress, but rather he or she is able to recover more quickly and even grow in the face of adversity, trauma or prolonged stress. It means they emerge stronger. Basically, this resilience works as a psychological buffer. Whenever there is adversity, this trait of resilience, this helps the individual to stand despite having all the hardships. This resilience is not affected by age, gender, experience or any kind of background. It maintains a sense of control over their lives. These people stay committed to their goals despite having setbacks. They use problem solving skills more effectively and they seek support whenever it is required. Here also shows that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Even the most resilient people also, they ask for help and they reach out for it as well. The real life example is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. We all are aware of that he born and brought up in a very humble family. He faced financial hardships. He used to sold newspaper as a child to support his family, but these things never stop him from chasing his dreams. There was a case, he always wanted to become a firefighter. So he was preparing for it. He gave the exam also. What happened? There was only 8 seats and he got the 9th rank. He was so devastated that he went to his mentor, Shivananji, after this whole thing. And he narrated that he is feeling so low and he is feeling devastated because his lifelong dream is not going to be true. Later he joined DRDO and also ISRO. So we all know about the Arunima Sinha. She was a national volleyball player. Once she was traveling via train, some thieves tried to snatch her train and then they pushed her off on the train in 2011, and because of that she lost her left leg. She was resilient. On the hospital bed itself, she thought that she has to prove herself and she wanted to climb Mount Everest. Everyone was thinking that her mental state is not good and because of the trauma she is thinking in such way, and she was being examined by psychiatrists as well. But later on, she became the first female amputee in the world to climb Mount Everest in 2013, just after the 2 years of that setback. She later climbed several other major peaks, turning her trauma into a global inspiration. We also know about Nelson Mandela from South Africa and Stephen Hawking from UK. They all are figures which shows that resilience is common in anyone, in any country, any nationality and to any gender. Types of resilience. Basically, resilience is not something which fits with everyone. There are different types of resilience. Some people born with the trait of resilience, they are basically more resilient than others by default. It's their trait. The second one is process resilience, and the third one is outcome resilience. Now I'll discuss all these in a proper manner to you so that you can have a better understanding of this. Trait resilience. It's an inherent personality trait. These people are more persistent, more hopeful, more optimistic, and more resilient by nature. They don't need any kind of trauma, adversity for that. In general, it is inbuilt character of theirs. What happens? They have optimism, emotional stability, and self efficacy, and they are too much committed and controlled with their goals, and they perceive stress as a challenge rather than a threat. Usually, these kind of people are motivated by the internal motivation or intrinsic motivation. They don't need someone else, some external agency to reinforce her, but their own personality trait is making them more motivated for dealing with the traumas or adversities. A very good example is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. We all know that the Pokhran thing, when it not went well, we were thinking and we were blaming the country for that, scientists for that. But despite that very traumatic or very pressured time, he dealt in with a very good resilience. Process resilience. So basically, this type of resilience develop over time when the person faces lots of adversities, and by his training or because of his mental set and because of the family support, they choose to adapt with the situation, and they don't feel like that they should be consider it as a threat. So it reflects how people respond to adversity and grow stronger through these responses. Basically, it is shaped by the life experiences, support systems, and social learning. Sometimes a child is having different kind of disability, physical or mental, lots of support from family, a training, they choose to emerge as a fighter rather than just be depressed and think all in time overthink about the adversities in their life. They choose to be a problem solver, they choose to fight through it. For example, Arunima Sinha, who lost her leg in the train accident, she had no innate preparation for such a trauma. But through therapy, training, and support, she developed a psychological tool to climb Mount Everest. Outcome resilience. Basically, this kind of resilience is the result of any trauma, any hardship, or any kind of setback. Usually, the person is not as resilient, but after any incident which happened to them, they choose and emerge as a resilient person. For example, Malala from Pakistan, after surviving an assassination attempt, not only she returned to school, but she became a global advocate for girls' education and won the Nobel Peace Prize. So now we understand that this resilience is actually multidimensional. This works together. Trait resilience might help a person endure the initial stress, then process resilience, help them learn and adapt during the crisis, and then comes the outcome resilience, which shows how they recover and thrive afterwards. For example, during COVID-19, sometimes person who are working as a mental health professionals, they already have a training and they were more resilient by trait to deal with such kind of medical emergencies. Then they got the training, and because of training, they become more powerful, more equipped to deal with such emergencies. And after the COVID-19, they emerge as more equipped, more experienced to deal with such national calamities and mass level of illnesses. Resilience and its impact on mental health. So now comes the point why resilience is so important, why we are giving too much emphasis on this trait. So I'll tell you. Basically, resilience is not a trait, it's a quality which helps us against any kind of physical or mental illness. It has been seen in the studies that those people who are more resilient, they deal with psychiatric or psychological illness or physical illnesses in a better way. Their recovery rate is also better than person who are not having this trait. It has been seen that it is also linked with longevity. The people who are having high resilience, they age longer and they have less kind of physical and mental illnesses. It helps in recovery, it helps in dealing with the illnesses, and it also leads to longer longevity. Strategies to adapt and recover from adversity. There are lots of strategies which we can do. This slide tells you that you don't need to be inherently a resilient person to do these things. You can make yourself resilient by learning the coping strategies, by learning the traits, by learning the techniques, how you can be resilient. For this, I'll tell you that you need to have internal motivation if you are doing something which is aligned to your, if your goal is aligned to your values, if your goal is aligned to your internal reward system, it is chances that you will be persistent and you will be continue without getting the external reward. So this kind of persistence and guiding by the internal motivation is also an integral part of the resilience trait. Accept change as a part of life. Life is ever changing. We never know what will happen next. Sometime something happens which is totally unexpected for us. What happens during these kind of times? We should not be perplexed. We should not be numb. We should think in a careful manner what can be done in that situation. Yes, damage has been done, but now what we can do? Sometimes we go with any kind of major kind of setback, major accident, in national calamities. Sometimes people lost their family. The trauma is too much. Sometimes person gets amputation. Sometimes you get any serious chronic kind of illness, someone diagnosed with cancer. These kind of things make a person, any normal person, stressed and devastated. Now, if you know that you can't change these things and there are few things which you can control, you focus on the things which you can control. And by doing this thing, your mental set shifts from the adversity to prosperity. The second thing is develop realistic goals and take decisive actions. Now, this is very important to understand. You have to make your goals smart and you have to make your goals which are we are able to fulfill. Like Arunima Sinha, despite having amputated leg, she thought that she will climb Mount Everest. It was actually a dream for her, but she took proper training. She worked so hard to prepare herself mentally and physically for that thing. This shows that she made her goal realistic by doing enormous amount of training and put lots of effort in that. You should make any goal which is aligned to your capacities, to your abilities, and then you focus on it. This will help you in becoming as a resilient person in a better way. Build strong relationships. It has always seen that resilient people are having a very strong support system. This social support should be very good in a qualitative manner. You don't need to have a large amount of people whom you can call your friend, but only 2-3 people whom you can count at any point of time is more than enough. So you should have a good support system to develop resilience over time. Practice self-care. So basically resilience is not a mental thing, it's also biological. We use our brain, which is a physiological entity, when we practice resilience. Mind is the hypothetical entity of brain. So whenever you are practicing resilience, you also have to take care of your body as well as your mind. It takes lot of energy for a mind to work and to do the problem solving, to fulfill all these things, to see a goal and work accordingly. For that thing, you need proper sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep in a day. You need proper balanced diet, nutritional values, you need rest. You also need some mindfulness based exercises which make your mind more calm and relaxed in the time of crisis. Develop problem solving and critical thinking skills. So what happens by doing this mindful skills training, by doing this mindful exercises, breathing exercises, we learn how to think in an alternative manner. I'm telling you, I'm giving you an example that I'm in a airport lounge and a boy comes and he hit me and just ran away. What happens? My mind will say, oh, these boys, they don't take care about the people around them. He should be more careful. What happened? My emotional state will become low. I'll feel sad. I'll feel frustrated. And what happens? My behavior will be, I'll sit quietly. I don't want to take a picture or something of the airport. I don't want to enjoy my trip in the airplane. Whatever happened, I'll not feel good enough to mingle with people around. Now, if I want to be a resilient person, I can think of an alternative explanation of the same event. Why the boy hit me? Maybe it is unintentional. Suddenly I realized, oh, in next terminal, they were asking for a man coming because the person is late. Maybe this boy is the same person. Because he or she is getting late, she doesn't have time to tell me, excuse me, you just be aside, I have to go. I realized, oh, it was my fault. It was not my house. It was a public place and I have to be more vigilant. By thinking of this alternative explanation, what happens? My mental state change. I feel better. I feel calm. I feel assured and relaxed, confident. And because of this mental state, my emotions are also of happiness and my behavior is also smiling, just walking in the lounge and exploring things there. You understand? If you shift your attribution towards the positivity, you become more resilient. Secondly, you have to take care of the coping patterns. Sometimes, when we are in a situation of difficulty, like I'm having exams, and because of the procrastination, I have not studied. So, my stress will spike. Now, what will happen? Because of this enormous amount of anxiety and stress, I'll again procrastinate. I'll binge watch something over phone. I'll waste my time in talking to friends. I'll spend time here and there, but I won't focus on studies which I need to do. Sometimes we excessively do maladaptive copings, which will not make us resilient. So try to be mindful about what coping strategies you are using. Seek professional help when needed. This is a very important step to be resilient because sometimes you feel that you are trying everything, but despite that, things are not becoming what you want. You want a guide, you want a mentor, or you just want a professional advice how to proceed further. It can be your mother, it can be your family member, it can be your teacher, it can be someone close enough who can guide you in that regard. It can be your wife, it can be your husband, it can be anyone with whom you trust and who can guide you. Sometimes it doesn't stop here and you need more help. Then you need to go to the professional help, to clinical psychologist or to the doctors to deal with that problem. If someone is diagnosed with cancer, the person will be devastated. The person don't know because he or she must have some plans what they will do in the future. But this is a huge setback for them. So what they need to do? They can meet psychologists, they can start the therapy for their depression and they can also meet the doctor for the physical treatment. Cultivating optimism and emotional strength during challenging times. What you need to do, what practical steps you can take when there is a crisis. So, what happens when we are in the crisis situation? Our sympathetic nervous system get activates, cortisol gets secreted, and we just become ready for the fight or flight response. On those times, our body is reacting to that immediate stress. If it stress continues, it becomes chronic stress and it is having very adverse effects on our mental and physical health. So it's very important to know what steps to be taken whenever you are in the crisis. The very first thing you can do is maintain a hopeful outlook. Optimism, hope. These terms are actually very important. Sometimes we tell everyone you have to be optimistic, you have to be hopeful. But if you are giving someone false promises, it won't work in that way. You have to be vigilant about telling what are the strengths of that person. Despite all the adversities, what are the things which I can look forward to? You have to be grateful for whatever is going on good in your life. So this practicing of optimism is very important and first practical step. The second step which I told you is practicing gratitude. If we practice gratitude, what happens? It's not only positive thinking, but it shifts our mental set from the negative to positive, from what is not going well to what is going all right. So what happens? This gives us a shift in the mental set and we becomes grateful for small things. We have a sense of achievement and it further grows and we become more resilient in the longer run. A study by Emmons and Matlock found that people who kept gratitude journals reported 25% higher happiness levels and lower stress than those who didn't. So, for example, individuals who are involved on areas like Ukraine, they often share stories of finding someone who shared warm meals with them about any kind of community help or safety for their families. Build emotional awareness. So, building emotional awareness means that you understand what you are feeling, you know about your emotions, you can name them and you can express them also. This is emotional regulation and emotional expression. That is a very important trait of resilience, because if you are not able to understand what is going on, you can't work on it and you can't make a practical strategy accordingly. So it's very important to know. And if you are doing the emotional suppression while you are in the crisis, it is having a very strong toll on your mental and physical health. So, emotional expression in a genuine way is highly recommended. According to emotional regulation theory, emotional awareness is a key predictor of resilience and adaptive coping. During grief therapy, people who express their sadness or fear tend to recover faster than those who express or avoid their feelings. The fourth point is develop inner strength through adversity. It has been seen that few people emerge stronger after the adversity. We have seen many people, they become motivational speaker, they tell about their survival stories. Why this happens? Because during the crisis, they keep looking of what is going well in their life. They try to be persistent. They are guided by optimistic outlook. They are good in the emotional regulation, and also they look forward. They have a sense of goal, what they have to present to the society and to their family and to themselves. I'll tell you about a person in the history. His name was Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was captivated in the Nazi camp, and he was a physician, but he kept in the Nazi camp during the Holocaust. What he did is, during that period of time, he remained motivated that whenever he get the chance to come out of the concentration camp, he will tell the whole world what goes on in the camps there, what kind of experience they had. He also noticed that those people who have a very strong sense of goal, who wanted to do something in their life later on after coming out of the concentration camp, have better recovery rates, have better longevity, and also they cope in a better manner in the concentration camp. Engage in meaningful activities. If you have a purpose in life, if you are engaged in the meaningful activities, the purpose should not be limited to only yourself. It can be bigger than your life. It can be for your society. It can be for unprivileged children. It can be so for anyone in the society or nation. So if you are having a purposeful life, it helps you also to be more resilient during the difficult times, because it works as an internal motivation. So now conclusion is, resilience is a powerful tool that can help us heal from trauma and transform our experiences into triumph. By developing resilience, we can build the skills and support system we need to overcome challenges and find hope for the future. So I'll end up my presentation with the lines of Dr. APJ Kalam. Man needs difficulty in life because they are necessary to enjoy success. It shows that difficulties are also very much needed in our life, because if you will get all the prosperity, everything in your life, you won't learn how to be resilient. You don't know how to work harder and how to deal with it. These are the resources. Please go through it to get the better understanding. Thank you.